Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam to all the dear devotees, Jai Shri Prabhupada, Hari Bol to Vishwanath Prabhu, Meenakshi Mohini, and Pawan Prabhuji for leading the chanting this morning. Okay, let's continue with our Mangalacharan prayers. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Sha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raguna Thanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijanasahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Sha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा ओके. So let's continue with our prayer. So this week and the next week, as we all know, we announced at the center, we'll be celebrating Shri Gaur Purnima, the wonderful, most auspicious appearance of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So to prepare our consciousness for his arrival, we will sing this beautiful prayer from Shri Prarthana by Shri Narottam Das Thakur. Posted the link in the chat. Let me share my screen. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu. Daya Koro Mori. So we'll sing this and then we'll read the translation. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Doya Koro More. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Doya Koro More. तुम बीन कि दयालु जगत संसारे श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु दया करो मोरे तुम बीन कि दयालु जगत संसारे पतित पावन हेतु तव अवतार मौसम पतित प्रभु न पाई बेयार आहा प्रभु नित्यानंद प्रेमानंद सुखी कृपा बलो कन करो आमी बड़ो दुखी दया करो सीतापति अद्वैत गोसाई तव कृपा बले पाई चैतन्य निताई गौर प्रेममय तनु पंडित गदाधर श्रीनिवास हरिदास दोयार सागर आह स्वरूप सनातन रूप रघुनाथ भट्ट जुग श्रीजीव प्रभु लोकनाथ दया करो श्री आचार्य प्रभु श्रीनिवास रामचंद्र संग मागे नरोत्तम दास दया करो श्री आचार्य प्रभु श्रीनिवास रामचंद्र संग मागे नरोत्तम दास हरे कृष्ण Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. श्री प्रार्थना की जय, श्री नरोत्तम दास ठाकुर की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. Okay, we'll read translation. Anybody would like to read the translation?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Haribol. Yes, Prabhuji.
My dear Lord Chaitanya, please be merciful to me, because who can be more merciful than your Lordship within these three worlds? Your incarnation is just to reclaim the conditioned fallen souls, but I am sure that you will not find a greater fallen soul than me. Therefore, my claim is first. My dear Lord Nityananda, you are always joyful in spiritual bliss. Since you always appear very happy, I have come to you because I am most unhappy. If you kindly put your glance over me, then I may also become happy. My dear Aditya Prabhu, husband of Sita, you are so kind. Please be merciful to me. If you are kind to me, naturally Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda will also be kind to me. Gauda's love embodiment is shown by Gadadhar Pandit, Srinivas Pandit, and Haridas Thakur are ocean of mercy. My dear Aditya Prabhu, I read all. Gauda love embodiment is shown by Gadadhar Pandit, Srinivas Pandit, and Haridasa Thakur are the ocean of mercy. O Sarup Damodara, personal secretary of Lord Chaitanya, O Six Goswami, O Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatt Goswami, Sri Gopal Bhatt Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Raghunath Dasa Goswami, O Loknath Goswami, my beloved spiritual master Narottam Das, also pray for your mercy. O Srinivas Acharya, successor of six Goswamis, please be merciful to me. Narottam Das always desired to accompany the Ramchandra Chakravarti.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Yes. Very wonderful prayer. Each prayer is so beautiful by Sri Narottam Das Thakur, who is kind of the mercy incarnation of Sri Nityananda Prabhu himself. So, and Nityananda Prabhu, as we know, is the Adi Guru. He is the eternal spiritual master. All our acharyas come from the mercy of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. So, as we were singing the Guru Parampara last week, this prayer also reminds us that we have to take shelter of all these acharyas in our parampara, who, by the mercy of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, are bestowing their unlimited compassion and mercy on each one of us. So, by praying to them, by taking their dust of their lotus feet, we can advance on the spiritual path. And yeah, this also reminds us of. I was watching that video, Prabhu, that you shared of Amit Shah in Mayapur, right? So he had come there for the anniversary for the Avirbhav Divas of Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, whose composition was the prayer that we sang last week. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and Srila Prabhupada and all these wonderful acharyas, he was glorifying them so much. So it was so nice to hear that politicians, even though they're there, but he said, I'm not come here as a politician. I've come here as a servant, of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Nityananda Prabhu, who appeared in the Dham of Mayapur in Nadia. So it was very
Yeah,
nice
it
to
was
see that.
very inspirational. That's why I posted it.
Yes, thank you for sharing. Yes. So yes, that is the glory of these acharyas, that even after hundreds of years, they are still remembered, and genuinely, I think you could see he was genuinely sharing his appreciation, because he had gone to ISKCON temple in Ahmedabad, he says, and how the uh, maybe these uh, sannyasis and the acharyas there had received him, and what he had learned from them. He was sharing that what is the definition of a guru, what is true surrender, etc. So it was good to see that he was genuinely appreciative of the contributions and the unparalleled compassion of Srila Prabhupada and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, in terms of how they made all the signs of devotional service very practical and applicable to modern life, and how they shared it in terms of book. He was appreciating the the Gita that ISKCON has distributed, not just in one, two, hundreds of languages. He says wherever, whichever state he goes to in India, each of those states, in each of those languages, Bhagavad Gita is there, and that is there the due to contributions of ISKCON and Srila Prabhupada. So yes, it was very wonderful. So yeah, so these acharyas are truly our shelter, and by praying at their lotus feet, this prayer actually it's good, because it's the whole kind of Guru Parampara again, that we can take shelter of. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself, becomes pleased when we take shelter of his devotees, right? So he says, I am those who call themselves as my devotees are not my devotees, but those who are actually my devotees are factually my devotees. So yeah, we have to go in the parampara. Yes, so on that same theme, there was a lot to be covered. I think we covered this chapter 33 last week, which is titled as a lot of ground to be covered. So yeah, while these acharyas have come before us and they have distributed their mercy, and today by again mercy of these acharyas, Srila Prabhupada, there are hundreds and thousands of devotees all over the world, but still there is a lot of ground to be covered. I was remembering once when I was in Chicago, at the Shri Shri Radha Shyamsundar temple. Um, His Holiness Romapada Swami Maharaj was there, and we had gone there during the winter break, and he was sharing Chaitanya Leela at that time. So after the end of like it was a three day winter kind of seminar, and it was nice, wonderful. Maharaj went into so many details of the whole Chaitanya Leela and all the devotees, all these acharyas that we just read about. So so at the end, after that, he opened up for questions. There were some questions that I also asked that question, that Maharaj, why is it like, because I come from North India, but I grew up in Chennai in South, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityanand Prabhu, they're so merciful, so glorious, based on what he had shared. But at least I didn't know about them before I came to ISKCON. So even though I grew up in South India, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to the South, and he performed so many, pastimes and so many devotees in South India, but still at least he was virtually unknown to me. So I'm sure to many of us. So I remember his response, very, very, he looked at me, and then with a small gentle smile, he said, yes, so that is our duty. We have to make him famous. We have to make him famous. Yes, we have to. So that it just reminded me of this title, this page, that chapter that we just read, a lot of ground to be covered. That, and now at least, I can see that was many years ago, probably before COVID or just around COVID. So, but yeah, now we see, at least in Cincinnati, we see so many devotees have Shishi Gauranita deities. We have more Gauranita deities than Radhakrishna deities. So that is the mercy of these two transcendental brothers, that they come and they're so merciful. Like we always joke, like we are Cincinnati Bengals, and Nityananda Prabhu comes in Bengal. He goes from door to door to distribute this mercy. So being kind of Cincinnati Bengals, we have the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu here. So yeah, lot of ground to be covered, and again, Also, it's very instructive also, this chapter that we just read yesterday. Some of us had joined and we didn't do recording, but we were talking again, like few very important instructions that Srila Prabhupada shared in this chapter. A lot of ground to be covered also literally means that there is a lot of ground to be covered, right? So there is a lot of steps to be taken. And Prabhupada again was emphasizing multiple times with examples, by his practical example, whether he was in Allahabad, whether he was in Vrindavan, of the importance of remembering Krishna by chanting Hare Krishna, by importance of waking up early, Mangala Arati, and chanting Hare Krishna. He was giving an example of that lady who just brought water every single morning. She will go to bathe in the Yamuna and she will bring water for the deities, for Radha Damodar. Remember when we were reading Radha Damodar temple, she would just come every single day. He said without us missing even a single day, she would bring water. And for that one service, she will go back to Godhead. So that was the words of the acharyas that yeah, so that is, and he said those who are serious in spiritual life will wake up early and chant Hare Krishna. So again and again, so it means again, if you say a lot of ground to be covered, it is not that we do 1 day, 5 day, 10 days, then we leave it, we give it up, right? He said those who are serious in spiritual life will do this, will wake up early, attend Mangalarti, chant Hare Krishna, right? So again, we say the same thing. See, we have to become sincere and we have to become serious. And sincere and serious, like we talked earlier, sincere is not, sincere is by your, it's not being hypocritical, not being, not having the cheating propensity, right? We have to be true to ourselves. Of course, Krishna is there in our heart. We can cheat everybody else, but we cannot cheat Krishna, right? So that is sincerity. Sincerity is we have to see that sincere, as we said, sincere means we have to see the sins, not of outside world, but ourselves. We have to become the seer of the sins of ourselves. That means we have to become the seer of the anarthas that we all have, at least I have in my heart. I know what anarthas I have. So being the seer of those sins and becoming serious, like Prabhupada said here, serious is trying to do this to the best of our abilities. Of course, it's very practically sometimes it can be challenging, but as much as possible, we should become sincere and serious that we have to advance in spiritual life. So those were very, 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 very important instructions from Srila Prabhupada, which have come again and again. This theme has come up. So yeah, we should try to do that. We should follow the instructions. Okay. Jet H. Parivajakacharya. Let's continue with chapter 34. This also, when I was reflecting on this, if you see this very carefully, J, A, P, and Acharya, A. What does that mean? J, A, P, A. Japa. So that is what Prabhupada is saying. So we have to become, while there is a lot of ground to be covered, so like Prabhupada was also talking about Samudra Manthan, he was in Allahabad, he was talking about Samudra Manthan. And Samudra Manthan, what was the avatar of the Lord? It was the Kurma avatar, the tortoise. We all know growing up the famous story of the tortoise and the hare. The tortoise was slow and steady. He said, okay, I want to compete with you in a race to the hare, right? To the bunny rabbit. And the bunny rabbit was saying, he was laughing. He said, what? You're going to challenge me in running race? And then he just laughs, he mocks at him and he hops. So tortoise will go maybe, 10 feet, 20 feet in an hour. A rabbit will just jump that he can jump in one hop, he can go that much feet. So what does the rabbit do? He goes and he takes a rest under the tree. He's thinking, he's laughing, he's smiling at that tortoise. I'm going to just take some rest and I'll win. But what does the tortoise do? He just goes, he doesn't stop, he's just slow and steady. Right? He's just slow and steady without taking any break. And then eventually we all know what happens to the story. So like that, Kurma Avatar is the foundation for Samudra Manthan Leela. So our foundation also, like that Kurma Avatar of the Lord, is to be, we can be slow, but we have to be steady. We have to be consistent. And then we will win. So that is also the japa, jet age, even though it is jet age. So Prabhupada became jet age Parivajaka Acharya, but by the virtue of sincere sadhana and japa that he taught, as well as all our acharyas have taught us. Okay, so Srila Prabhupada had his travel plans to US, London, Australia, Moscow, Malaysia, and a reporter in India called him Jet Age Parivajaka Acharya. Rightly because he was traveling around the world to preach Krishna consciousness, just like Narad Muni. Srila Prabhupada went to Malaysia and then onward to Sydney. Answering to a reporter in Sydney, Srila Prabhupada said he was like a salesman delivering Krishna all around the world. Srila Prabhupada preached on consciousness and distinction between body and soul. He mentioned that the only credit he has is that he has presented Bhagavad Gita as it is without adulteration. Srila Prabhupada had brought Radhakrishna deities to install at Sydney one-room storefront temple, initiated 15 devotees, and named the deities Radha Gopinath. Sydney devotees were neophyte. Srila Prabhupada prayed to Rupa Goswami to give them the intelligence to worship, or prayed to, prayed to Radha Govinda or Radha Gopinath to give them intelligence to worship Radha Gopinath properly. Next destination, Calcutta. Pandal festival was organized and His Holiness Jayapataka Swami was in charge. Srila Prabhupada had written to His Holiness Jayapataka Swami, who was ISKCON Calcutta Temple president, to arrange for puri, halwa and khichdi. Program was attended by 20,000 to 30,000. It was the biggest function Calcutta had witnessed. Wonderful kirtan, prasadam, and lecture by Srila Prabhupada. Before lecture, Naxalites created disturbance. Srila Prabhupada depended on Krishna and chanted Chinta mani prakarasad mashukalpa vriksha laksha vratesh surabhi ravipalayantam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. And within minutes, the crowd subdued and Srila Prabhupada lectured. Then was the grand culmination of Radha Govinda deities. Palanquin procession from Pandal to the ISKCON temple at Albert Road. Srila Prabhupada sent Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj to Mayapur to not return until he purchased a land for ISKCON in Mayapur. And TKG returned, or Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj returned in 6 days to Calcutta, having purchased 9 bighas, 3 acres in Mayapur. Srila Prabhupada said, all leaders of all ISKCON centers around the world should come to Mayapur during Janmashtami, that year where the foundation stone was to be laid for the Adbhut Mandir that was to manifest. Srila Prabhupada went to Moscow, Russia to preach Krishna consciousness. He found the people there fertile for Krishna consciousness, met Professor Kotovsky, preached to him about Varnashram system and full surrender to Lord Krishna, quoting from Bhagavad Gita. Srila Prabhupada met 2 interested people brought by Shyam Sundar Prabhu, Ivan and Narayan. Srila Prabhupada preached to them, taught them how to prepare chapatis and rice, and Ivan accepted the chanting, the new way of eating, everything, and started preaching Krishna consciousness in Russia. Srila Prabhupada found purpose in visiting Russia because he could preach to this one person and similarly others would also be interested in Krishna consciousness. Then from Russia, Srila Prabhupada went for a day to Paris, met Harivilas Prabhu, temple president, and next destination was America. Chapter 35. This remote corner of the world. Srila Prabhupada was back in the US, in Los Angeles, and this time, unlike the first time, a lot of devotees waited and welcomed Srila Prabhupada, and the devotees were worshipping Radha Dwarkadish very well, and many were ready for initiation. Srila Prabhupada then went to San Francisco Rath Yatra, then to Detroit, where 200 devotees waited for Srila Prabhupada. Bahula Prabhu asked Srila Prabhupada, what would please you? Srila Prabhupada replied, chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra and preach about Lord Krishna. Then Srila Prabhupada went to Boston, New York. In New York, Srila Prabhupada initiated more than 100 disciples. Then Atlanta, then Jacksonville, then initiation ceremony instructed on importance of wearing neck beads. Then Srila Prabhupada said, being enthusiastic, confident, sincere, determined, and patient, when followed properly, one becomes expert. Someone asked, how to preach to others? Srila Prabhupada replied, chant Hare Krishna and do your best as your duty to Lord Krishna. Srila Prabhupada was merciful to everyone and everywhere. Hence, he was Jagat Guru. Wherever Srila Prabhupada was, he was up at midnight every day to write his transcendental purports to the Srimad Bhagavatam. End of chapter 35. Srila Prabhupada, this is a famous, very, very wonderful picture and nice video also we have of this Rath Yatra in San Francisco. Okay, chapter 36. In every town and village, In August 1971, Srila Prabhupada went from Florida to New York to London and was not well as there was no sunshine and was very cloudy and rainy throughout the day. And Srila Prabhupada was feeling sick and he was rheumatic. Srila Prabhupada wanted his books to be printed fast, and there is a huge stock of his big and small books. Advaita Prabhu called from New York ISKCON Press that they would be giving the drafts of printing of 5 Srila Prabhupada's big books. That was the best cure for Srila Prabhupada, and he was very, very pleased. Ranchod Prabhu mentioned how at 1 a.m. Srila Prabhupada was dictating Srila Prabhupada purports, Srimad Bhagavatam purports. The whole day, Srila Prabhupada was busy organizing people and events, and in the early morning hours, he was writing his Srimad Bhagavatam purports. On August 14, 1971, Janmashtami was celebrated, and next day was Srila Prabhupada's 75th appearance anniversary. Vyas Puja and homages poured in from all directions, glorifying Srila Prabhupada and seeking Srila Prabhupada's prayers and blessings. Srila Prabhupada met Mr. Pandya from East Africa, who had a house in Africa, and invited Srila Prabhupada to come and stay. He said it is quite sunny, and Srila Prabhupada could go there and stay as much as he liked. Srila Prabhupada had already sent Brahmananda Swami to go to Pakistan, and later, due to some war situation in Pakistan, asked him to go to Africa. So now Brahmananda Swami was eager to receive Srila Prabhupada in Africa. Then Srila Prabhupada went to Mombasa to the house of Mr. Pandya, and there was good sunshine with beach adjoining where Srila Prabhupada took walks and his health was back to normal. On August 14, 1971, Janmashtami was celebrated, and next day was Srila Prabhupada's 75th appearance anniversary. Vyas Puja and homages poured in from all directions, glorifying His divine grace, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, and seeking Srila Prabhupada's prayers and blessings. Then Srila Prabhupada wanted to go to the capital, Nairobi, to preach. Srila Prabhupada demonstrated the life of a sannyasi, staying at devotee homes for 3 days and then moving on, demonstrating detachment to material things and attachment to Sri Krishna. Srila Prabhupada preached in a small temple in Africa, which opened up to the road, and within few minutes of kirtan, the temple hall was filled with African people. Srila Prabhupada wanted to preach to Africans and gave lecture at the Nairobi University. The audience everywhere in Africa broke into applause after Srila Prabhupada's lecture, clearly proving that language was no barrier. This was the language of the heart. Srila Prabhupada explained that Samadhi is actively serving Lord Krishna and not solitary meditation, and demonstrated how by working in the mood of being the servant of the spiritual master, and success followed at all times. Next destination was back to Bombay. Okay, so I was here today. Yes, truly Jet H. Parivajaka. See how he's traveling at the age of almost 75 from one corner of the world to another remote corner of the world, going from one heart to another heart, speaking the language of the heart. It doesn't matter whether people understood or not. He said this was the language of the heart. So it was directly connecting to each and everyone, even in Africa, in the remote corner of continent of the world. So yeah, again, that is only possible. Otherwise, there's nobody in the history of mankind that we can see who traveled around the globe 14 times at the age of 70 plus years, and transformed the lives of so many people all around the world by planting the seed of pure bhakti, pure devotional service. Again, reflecting on Amit Shah's speech yesterday, yeah, it was very genuinely appreciating, the contributions of Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. And he was mentioning how even he said before coming, he said he himself was trying to come so many times to Mayapur, but by the will of Providence, he had never been able to. But now he was so happy that everything just fell in place, and on this very auspicious day of the appearance of anniversary of Sri Bhakti Siddhanta, he was there. And there are thousands and thousands of devotees, of course, in Mayapur. We know it's a huge temple coming up, TOVP, Temple of Vedic Planetarium, and devotees had assembled there from all parts of not just Mayapur, but from Bengal and from other parts of India. It was very nice to see the whole crowd, and he was saying that how he had spoken to Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi before coming there, and Narendra Modi, like he was saying that Narendra Modi also personally, whenever any foreign minister or foreign dignitary, prime minister, presidents visit him, he personally gives them a copy of Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is. So that is so wonderful that we have seen some pictures also. His Holiness Janardhan Maharaj had shared once recently where I think it was Putin, I think, who had come, and it's a Russian prime minister, and there was a picture of Modi giving him the Bhagavad Gita as it is. So it was such a nice picture to see. It's like a full circle. So we saw today how Prabhupada went to Russia, and even it was just one or two, the Ivan, and one or two devotees who were interested. And today we see actually Russia has the most number of devotees after India. And my Guru Maharaj also, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, he traveled to Russia many times. And there are so many ISKCON devotees in Russia today, and they're so sincere. Maharaj used to say when I was in Vrindavan, Kartik 2023, during my last interaction, also, Maharaj would say that these Russian grihasthas, so we are all grihasthas in grihasthashram as family householders. He was saying these Russian grihasthas are more sincere and more serious than my Indian brahmacharis. So yeah, he was really saying that he had so much of genuine love for the Russian disciples because they're so sincere. Yes, we talk about being America here, we see snowstorms and everything. In Russia, you can imagine they'll be like in -20, -40 degrees. Even in that weather, they would wake up, they would do their sadhana, they will go out for book distribution. So they were just so sincere that, yeah, from Srila Prabhupada's time, we see here Prabhupada kind of planted that seed, then just one or two initial devotees, and from that grew the whole tree of devotional service in Russia, and that was so nicely nourished and nurtured by his disciples, our Guru Varga. And yes, today Russian devotees are a big inspiration for many devotees around the world. We have seen many ISKCON videos where Russian devotees, Prabhujis, Matajis, they're dancing on the streets, wonderful kirtan, sankirtan, and Rath Yatra. All of those are kind of real life example in front of our eyes as to how the movement has grown in Russia by the sincere endeavor of Srila Prabhupada and his disciples. So, and same thing with Africa as well. Africa has grown. Like Prabhupada was saying the other day when he was in Surat, that, there's some devotees, but the whole city had kind of assembled to see him. So he was saying that this is a city of devotees. So Surat, again, all the Gujaratis, Prabhupada and my Guru Maharaj also would sometimes jokingly say, Gujaratis, they are born, they are born Vaishnavas, their bhakti is there in their blood. So the Gujaratis is who had actually gone to Africa. So they're, as business people, they've gone all over the world and they've set up businesses, but they were very supportive even in Africa. And today also, after many years, decades of the movement's growth, a lot of Gujarati devotees in Africa have helped the movement. So again, we see how Prabhupada went to Africa and then his disciples have lovingly, carefully nurtured this tree of Krishna consciousness in all these different continents around the world. Yeah, wonderful. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Okay. Anything else anybody would like to share? Anything that you liked? Anything that you loved? Anything that you want to meditate upon? Anything that you want to follow, implement in your life? No other thoughts? No
Hare
other
Krishna,
comments?
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Meenu
Hello.
Mataji. Oh, you're on mute, Mataji. Can you speak now?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yes,
Hello.
I can hear you now.
Good. The one thing that I'm working upon myself is the part where you said sincere. So that is a big inspiration to look within, first of all. So I think that is That is the first thing that is imperative. When you try to go in bhakti, when you think you can think of someone else besides yourself, when you start thinking of Lord, that means you have to stop thinking about yourself. That also means you have to stop thinking what feels good to you, what feels uncomfortable to you, or what makes you upset. So uh, that's the initial stage. So I'm trying to get to that initial stage. So sincere today was the key word for me today. So I just wanted to share from today's reading. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being so open and humble to share your shortcomings. And each one of us is, we have to, like you said, we have to look at ourselves. There's one nice pastime I remembered as you were speaking about this, like when the Lord sent, like, I was saying funny the other day also, like we all have come to US, most of us here on this call are of course from Cincinnati and in the US. So when we came to US, we had to bid adieu to our parents in India, right? So, and we came for the first time. We can all remember that first day when we traveled. So like that, we have come to this material world either by our own choice, mostly by our own choice, so we had to bid adieu to the Lord in the spiritual world. And when we came to America, our parents gave us some things, right? Saying, okay, take this, in our backpack, in our suitcases. So like that, Krishna, when he sent us here, he gave us something. We were saying, oh, can I take this? Can I take this? Krishna said, yes, you take this, you take this. And you're going far away from me, take this. So he gave us 2 gataris. So one gatari he gave, so like we had like a stick, you remember we have a stick, and on the front we have one gatari, and the back the stick is on our shoulder, and there's another gatari, another bag on our back. And then Krishna says that, okay, whatever you do, make sure that you just keep going forward. So just if you have to open this gatari, the front one, right? Never turn back, never look at the one what is at the back. So that was the instruction that he gives. So, and then we come to this material world, and then we are walking. We are having a gala time here. We open the gatari, and yes, we are. So it has all the ammunition for ourselves. It is basically when we open it, we realize what anarthas we have. So basically, that gatari has all our sins. So we have to become the sincere, like we say, the seer of our sins. So when we open that gatari, we see what anarthas we have in our heart, right? But after walking some time, then suddenly we have this aspiration or inquisitiveness as to, okay, what is there in this back gatari, the gatari at the back, right? So I said, even though we remember the instruction that Krishna has told us not to open this one, never open this one, just open the front one, and then you will come back to me. Right? So when we opened it and we sincerely see our sins and work on our anarthas by chanting Hare Krishna, as Mahaprabhu has told us, Cheto Darpana Marjanam, just by this chanting of the Mahamantra, chanting of the holy names, we will slowly but gradually, very surely eradicate all our anarthas. But then when we have this curiosity to look at what is at the back, and then we open it and then we see, oh, this person has this anartha. So that the one at the back has basically anarthas of all the people around us, right? And then we become so fascinated by that we start looking at the sins of others. We start criticizing. We start looking at, okay, what they're doing wrong. So, and then we just get stuck here in this world. Otherwise, if we were just looked at what is there in the front in our gatari, look at our sins, what anarthas we need to work on, we could have gone back to Godhead, because that was the instruction from Krishna. They just look at this, you'll come back to me. But because we look back and we look at everybody else's sins, then we get stuck here. So that is a very instructive pastime. I had heard this from one of the Maharajas a long time ago. So I just wanted to share that. Yes, so we have to become sincere, because right now we are trying to become senior, right? So senior also means sin here. We have a lot of sins, but in our ego and pride and false pride, we try to become senior, and that is sin here, right? So we are sin here, we have to become sincere. See our sins, only our sins, work on our sins, work on our anarthas. And the medicine has been given by Prabhupada. Just chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That is a medicine. The diet is prasadam. Just by doing these 2 things, we will surely and surely go back home, back to Godhead, as Prabhupada said. So you're just following his instructions. All right, Hare Krishna. Thank you, Meenu Mataji. Thank you, all dear devotees, for joining and for your wonderful association every single morning. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavrind ki jai. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Have a great
Hare
day.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.